making an obby from scratch on Hytopia and showing you every step of the process along the way, from before the first line of code is ever written all the way through to the final published game. If you don't know me, my name is Ash, and this is our final video of our 5-part tutorial series, and in it we are finally publishing our finished game. We will upload the game through our Hytopia account, add images, test the game, and finally hit that submit game button. Obviously, to follow along with this tutorial, you're going to want to have a game finished and all ready to go. If you haven't made a game yet on Hytopia and you're not sure where to start, you can always go back to the beginning of this tutorial series. But if you do have your game completed, then you can continue following along as I finish making an obby on Hytopia. So this video should be much more straightforward and probably shorter than all the other ones, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to log into our Hytopia account on a browser. If you don't have a Hytopia account yet, you're going to want to go ahead and make one because you upload your games through your Hytopia account. And once you have your Hytopia account, you can go over to the Create tab at the top, and right now you might see a stats page. This is like a placeholder now. Maybe by the time you're watching this, this will be like live and not just a placeholder, but either way it looks good. It's going to be cool when it's done. But if you go over to the Games tab, this is where all of your Hytopia games will live. If you don't have any games yet, you're not going to have anything right here, obviously. But what we're going to do is we're going to hit this big Create New Game button at the top. And we're going to give our game a name. My game is called Volcano Dash, and I'm going to hit Create Game. And the first thing you'll see here is this overview page. Right now, again, this is just a placeholder. It will be real stats eventually. But if we move on to the next tab, the settings tab, we can start filling out some information about our game. So obviously we just said the game name is Volcano Dash. If we wanted to change it, we could change that here. The URL slug is what the address will be for the game. So I'm just going to make mine Volcano Dash. And you can add a description. For my description, I just said collect energy inside of the lava chamber. Be careful not to overheat. And then I said what the controls are. So if you keep scrolling down, you have all of these different tags you can select. So select whichever ones are relevant to you. Obviously, this is an obby. It is, what else? Multiplayer. It's easy. Now you could say it's got a mini game. That seems fine. All right, that seems good. All right, and then if you're scrolling down, we get to this game icon in the game card cover section. So just to get an idea of where these images actually appear, if you go to the games list, you will see this is the game card, these bigger images, and then over like to the left at the bottom of them, that's the game icon. The game card cover is way more prominent than the icon, so make sure you have your game title in that as well. But there are some places where you'll also see the icon. So it gives you the dimensions for these. So the game icon is 1200 by 1200 pixels, and the game card cover is 1200 by 672. You could do this in Photoshop. I like to use Canva for this, so I'm going to go ahead and open up Canva. And so if you're in Canva doing this, you can just go to this create button and you can go to custom size, and then you can set the size. So the game icon is 1200 by 1200, and then you'd say create new design, and then you can start designing your game cover here. If you aren't liking your text options that you have inside of Canva, and there are a lot, if you click text, there's a lot of options. And then also if you go to apps, there's like a bunch of different apps for things like 3D text. I haven't tried these. If you have time, you might want to go through and see what your options are here. But additionally, there's also like 3D text generator websites that you can go to. For example, cooltext.com is one. So let's say you really like this one. You could click it and type your game name, and then you could make some adjustments to it and stuff like that. So you have a few different options for text, just so you know. Don't feel like you're locked into like Canva or Photoshop or whatever. Oh, also, you could go on Fiverr and hire someone for this. So you could find like a Minecraft server logo creator or something like that on Fiverr, and you could probably find some good artists to make you your icon and your game card cover if you don't feel like you can do it yourself. Most of the things I do myself though. So you can see for now inside of Canva, I've got this design for my game icon, and then I have this design for my game card icon. So back inside of that create page, I'm going to upload those now. Okay, and my game does support mobile, so I'm going to click yes. And this game is appropriate for kids. So I'm going to hit save changes. So now our game settings are changed, and now I'm going to move on to the media gallery. And this is where you can upload a bunch of images for your game. Just so you know, this says that it's 1200 by 1200, but this is not the right aspect ratio. If you look at any of these games, you can see that it's a rectangle, and this is actually a 2-to-1 ratio. So when we're going to make our images for the gallery, we're going to want to make sure that it's like 2400 by 1200 or something like that. So I'm going to create a new thing in Canva that is that size. So what most people do for this is just upload screenshots from their game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up my server. So I've got it loaded up here, and now I can start, just taking some screenshots. Get a screenshot of my checkpoint. And then once I have all my screenshots that I want to add, I'm going to go back to Canva and I'm going to upload them all. I'm going to make the background black. And I'm just going to start adding them in. Another thing that I think is good in these gallery images is something that I did in Sky Siege, which I'll pull up, is to have like some gameplay tips right here in the images, because not everyone likes to read, I've learned. So I'm just going to make another one of these that has some gameplay tips. So I'll just duplicate this one. I'm going to add like a black colored box over it. Black. I'm going to change the opacity, and then I'm going to start adding some text. One of the things you can do is if you have models that you want to reference in your information, you can just put it inside of a GLTF viewer. So I'm going to do the energy shard right now. Let's just do maybe the orange one. And then you can just take a screenshot of it. And then you can paste it into your Canva and use the background remover. And now I can use this as a little icon in my image. Edit, blur. I'm going to blur this image a little bit. Okay, that looks better. Makes it a little bit easier to read. Okay, so I have all these images done now that I want to use for my gallery. So I'm going to just download them all. And since there's multiple, it's going to download as a zip file. So I'm just going to go to my downloads folder and I'm going to extract it all. And now I can upload these into my gallery. 5 and 6. Okay, and so now if you go over to hosting, this is where we're going to upload our game. And you can see it says use Hytopia package command in your project directory to create an optimized zip file, then upload the zip file right here. So we're going to do that right now, but we're not going to do it in our actual project. We're actually going to make a copy of this and then zip it. And I'll tell you why in just a second. But first, so I'm going to go to my folder that has that project in it. So here's my Volcano Dash project. So I'm just going to make a copy of this. Okay, and I'm just going to rename it to Volcano Dash version 1. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to delete things that I don't need to be a part of the package. So I'm going to delete our .cursor folder. I'm going to delete the .git folder. This is just our version control. We don't need all these files as a part of this. I'm going to delete the dev folder. I don't need that. And then in the assets directory, you might remember that it automatically imports a bunch of different models into your project. We don't need all of these models, right? So we don't need basically any of these except for these Volcano Dash models, and we need the player model. So I'm going to delete everything else that I'm not using. So I'm going to delete structures, projectiles, particles, miscellaneous, items, environment. I don't think I'm using NPCs. Yeah, I should be able to delete the NPCs. Okay, so that's all of the models we don't need. What else don't we need? I don't need any of these sound effects, right? Because I made my own in this folder. So I'm going to delete our sound effects. I am using some of the music, so I'm going to leave that. And then what else don't we need? That's probably good. And by deleting all of that, it's just going to make our packaged file a little bit smaller, which is ideal. So now inside of Cursor, I'm going to open up that new version. And I'm going to go to Terminal, New Terminal. And I'm going to run this really fast just to make sure I've still got everything I need. So I'm going to go to Hytopia Start. It's running the game now. Let's check it out. Make sure it looks good. Allow. Okay. Looks like everything's here. And I'm just going to double check that everything's fine inside the lava chamber. Okay. And That looks good too. All right, so all of that is good. So now we can run that command that we saw before, this Hytopia package command. So I'm going to just copy that, and I'm going to go to my terminal. I'm going to paste it in, Hytopia package. I'm going to hit enter. Now you can see we've got this new file that just appeared, and it's volcano-version1.zip. So we've got a zip folder right here. And this is all we needed from this. I'm going to actually just copy this now. I'm going to go back to my volcano dash folder, my regular folder, and I'm just going to make a folder for versions. And I'm going to paste it in there just so that we have it. And then I'm going to delete that copied one that we made. And this is just how I like to work. You don't have to do it like this, but it just keeps things cleaner for me so I don't end up with like a bunch of folders inside of my games folder. So now that we have the package zip file, we can upload it here. So there's this button that says upload game. We're going to add the game file, which is games volcano-versions version 1. Open it, and I'm just going to name it volcano-initial version, and I'm going to say upload game. Okay, and now it's uploaded, and it's going to run through its validator, which it says it's pending right now. So we're just going to wait for this to say valid or approved or something like that. And then if you ever need to download a particular version of your game, you have this button right here that'll let you download it back. Okay, so I refreshed the page. It took about a minute, and now I've got my approval status, which says approved. If you ever have an issue here getting your package approved and you're not sure why, you could always drop a question in the Discord and someone will help you out. So now that we have our game uploaded and approved, now we need to test it. So I'm going to click this Test Now button, and it's going to automatically pull up a server through Hytopia's system the same way it'll launch when other people are in the game. And now you can see I've got my username there, and I'm actually in the game on Hytopia. So I'm gonna just put my headphones on to make sure the sound's working. Oh, and I've got some missing texture issues. All right, so I think what's happening is I've got this texture called lava stone, but over here I have it capitalized, and in my file it's not capitalized. I think that's the only issue. So I'm gonna fix that there, and I'm going to see if there's any other issues like that. All right, so I've saved that, and I'm going to repackage and re-upload this now. Okay, and now we're valid, so I'm going to hit test now. It's going to load up the server, and this time looks like we have our textures. Look through here, everything looks good in here. Click that. All right, now let's check this section. All right, so we've tested the game. Everything looks good. So now I'm just going to hit the submit game button, and I can pick the version that I want to do, which is my VD-version 1, and I'm going to hit submit for a review. It said game submitted for approval, and now all we have to do is wait for them to approve it. So I will come back when that is approved, and we'll check it out on the site. Okay, and it's been a day or so now. I'm finally getting a chance to log back in. I have this email that says your game has been updated, which means Volcano Dash should be live on Hytopia. So I'm going to open up Hytopia right now, and I'm going to scroll down. And yep, there it is right there, Volcano Dash. So I'm going to click it, make sure everything looks good. Okay, so everything looks good. We're live on Hytopia, so the game is officially complete. Anytime I want to update this game, all I have to do is go into my Hytopia account, go back to that create page, go to my games, and then I can see Volcano Dash. I would edit it, and then go over to hosting, upload a new version, and then when you hit submit game, you can select whatever version you want to submit to be updated, and then you'll go through that same approval process, and then your game will be updated live on site. So that's it for this tutorial. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've stuck it through all the way to the end and you've got your first game completed, congratulations. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out to me. I'll continue to upload tutorials as I learn things that I feel like are useful, and I'll also probably do some devlogs and things like that. So if you're not subscribed, be sure to do so if you're interested in that kind of stuff. And if you do, I will see you in the next one.